Hello, Whitman Post families. My name is Mrs. Carroll, and I'm the school social worker at Whitman Post Elementary School. Today, with you, I'm going to share Chapter 10 of Because of the Rabbit. Rabbits have scent glands under their chins. They rub their chins on things to claim them as their own. When I got home, Mom told me that Owen had texted. He made the soccer team. Now he probably is going to have practice every day. That's great, I said flatly, unpacking my backpack. I could smell that she'd been baking something yummy. What smells so good? Mom grinned. I baked chocolate chip cookies. How many kids are coming over today? Only Jack, I said. Thanks so much for making cookies, though. And can I borrow your phone? I'll need to take a video. Mom nodded. Sure, it's on the counter. I put her phone in my pocket. Just so you know, I said, feeling like I should warn her. Jack's a bit different. I think he might have some special needs. Different makes life more interesting, Mom said. I nodded, though that seemed like one of those things that people say to gloss over hard parts. He especially likes to talk about animals. Just like you, Mom said. Even more than me, I said. In fact, if there were a TV game show where all the categories were animals, Jack could be a millionaire. But when Jack and his mom arrived, I was surprised that he stepped back as Molly and Maggie came over barking, tails wagging. Girls, Mom said sharply to the dogs, go lie down. As Molly and Maggie trudged to their beds, Jack's mom said softly, it's a sensory thing. Jax loves to read about animals, but in real life, they can be a bit overwhelming. No problem at all, Mom said. Can I make you a cup of tea or coffee while the kids do their homework? Tea would be lovely. I'll put the kettle on, Mom said. Make yourself at home. And if you'd like to wash your hands, the bathroom is through that door. But no frogs are in there, Jack said sadly. Mom laughed. Oh, Emma told you about those. You're right. We don't have frogs in the bathroom regularly. That was just a homeschool science project. The frogs grew up, and we let them go back to the pond where we found the eggs. Let's work in my room, Jack, I said quickly to change the subject. My rabbit is there, but he only makes quiet noises. I got a piece of kale and a few blueberries from the refrigerator for Loppy and the plate of chocolate chips for Jack and me. Come on! As we were climbing the stairs, I heard Jack's mom talking to mine in the kitchen. Thank you for having us over. The other kids at school are mostly kind to Jack, but they almost never think to include him in outside of school, so this is really nice. It's nice for Emma too, Mom said. She's been hoping for a friend. I felt bad that Jack and I were both getting left out of things. Being left out hurts. I turned to him and rolled my eyes, in case he was embarrassed, as I was that over our mothers talking about us. But his eyes were focused on the bedroom door. His fingers were flickering at his side. He looked a little scared. It's okay, I said. Loppy can stay in this pen if you want. When I opened my bedroom door, Loppy immediately put his paws up on the side of the pen, excited to get out and have a run. Later, I promised, Jack and I have work to do. Loppy thumped his back foot on the floor. Rabbits thumb to warn other rabbits about danger, Jack said. Usually, I said. But this rabbit is telling me that he wants to have a run, and he's mad that I said no. Jack stared at Loppy, his fingers twitching harder. Let me out of here! Did he mean Loppy or himself? Are you okay? I asked. I'm fine, Jack said plainly, without taking his eyes off Loppy. How are you? I smiled. I'm fine too. Loppy thumped his back foot again. He's mad that you said no, Jack said, his eyes bright with excitement. He wants to come out. Was Jack asking me to let Loppy out? Hey, I have an idea. But it's okay if you don't want to. A good idea? Jack asked. Well, you get to decide if it's good or not. I said, you could sit at my desk and pull your feet up on the chair. I promise Loppy won't jump up there. He can have a little run around the room. And then I'll put a treat in his pen and he'll go back into it. Jack didn't look 100% sure, but he sat on my desk and put his legs up on his seat. As soon as I opened the pen door, Loppy hopped out easily onto my braided rug. His first free hops were always light and dainty. Little front feet, big back feet. Then he'd pick up speed, darting around my bed and out again, with long leaps that were on so fast. He'll lose his footing and slide on the hardwood floor. Jack gave a high-pitched laugh. "He's Wascally Robert," he said with the Elmer Fudd voice. "He sure is," I said. In between hops, Loppy would suddenly stop and rub his chin on something, claiming it. Dresser edge, mine. Heater, mine. Quilt, mine. Bookshelf, mine. Loppy passed and rubbed his chin on my foot, his whiskers tickling around my flip-flop. "You, mine." "He's claiming me," I said. Then Loppy suddenly leaped and twisted, like all the happiness inside him had exploded and lifted him into the air. He landed facing Jack. "That's called a binky. I read about it in the rabbit book I got at the library. It means he's happy." I handed Jack a blueberry. The book also said blueberries are one of their favorite things. Jack threw the blueberry at Loppy's feet. He sniffed it, and then he ate it up. "I should have known he'd love them," I said. "My Pepe used to tell me a story about how Monsignor Lappe tricked Monsignor Renard, the fox, out of his blueberries." "What story?" Jack asked. I hesitated. It was one thing to remember Pepe's stories or to tell them in our family. It was a whole different thing to tell another kid, but I didn't even know that well. But Jack stared at me, waiting. So I took a deep breath. It happened once that Monsignor Lappe saw Monsignor Renard, the fox, sitting in a blueberry patch, grooming his beautiful red tail before he feasted on all those delicious berries. "Foxes are omnivores," Jack said. "They eat both plants and animals." "That's good to know," I said. "But Monsignor Lappe has magic, and this is a story, so don't expect things to stay completely real, okay?" "It's a lie," Jack said, matter-of-factly. "No, though I guess if there were only two choices, it wasn't true," I shrugged. "Stories are somewhere in between. Do you want to hear it anyway?" Jack nodded. "Yes?" As Loppy chinned the leg of the desk chair, Jack pulled his feet tighter, his arms wrapped around his legs. "Okay, so Monsignor Lappe said, 'Oh, Monsignor Menard, your tail is so glorious, but you've missed a spot.' Monsignor Renard was very proud of his tail. 'Where?' he demanded. 'What kind of spot?' Jack said. Pine pitch." Jack nodded, and I continued. Monsignor Lappe pointed. "Right there." "No, a little more to the right." "Almost. A little more to the right." Soon Monsignor Renard was turning around and around, spinning so fast trying to reach the spot that he fell down dizzy. Monsignor Lappe jumped right into the blueberries and ate them all. So it was. I couldn't tell the story as well as Pepe, but still, it had been fun to share. Loppy waited up on his hind legs to look at Jack. Jack let his arms go. His fingers twitched hard as he slid one foot tentatively toward the edge of the desk chair. I held my breath as Loppy moved his chin across the toe of Jack's shoe. Then he landed his front foot back on the floor and took off again under my dresser. Jack looked at me, his mouth open. "He claimed you," I said. Jack kept his feet up on the desk, but his hand stopped twitching. "Let's touch him." "You want to touch him, Loppy?" I asked, surprised. "Only his back." "Okay, but he doesn't like to be picked up," I said. "So sit on the floor, and I'll put a blueberry next to you." As soon as Loppy came over for the blueberry, Jack reached out one trembling hand. 3 quick, barely there touches. I waited for Loppy to hop away, but he didn't. "He likes you," I said. "Maybe because your name sounds like a rabbit." "Jackrabbit." "Jackrabbits are really hares." Jack reached out and patted Lappe again. so lightly that I couldn't tell if he actually touched Sloppy's body or just the very tips of his fur. Monsignor Lappe, he whispered, and Jack Rabbit. Thank you, families, for sharing with me Chapter 10 of Because of the Rabbit.